Well, that didn't go the way I planned. Alright guys, we're back with another update on our tow pig project here. You know, I've been trying to make step-by-step instructional videos on just general maintenance and things on these trucks. Unfortunately, I kind of had a bunch of things going on at once, so this one's not going to be instructional. I'm just going to kind of go over what I've been doing to the truck the last 2 weeks. First up, I got her all cleaned up. She's actually, other than the rust down there, she's looking pretty spiffy. We got rid of the fuel door that had the big hole rusted in it, and my uncle actually has a parts truck, but it's gold, so you can see the inside of that's gold. What I did is I just bought one of these little covers here off eBay for like, I think it was $12.99 shipped, and it just sticks on so it hides that gold cover. But got the inside cleaned up pretty nice. Now the headliner, if you remember from the original video on this truck, the headliner was sagging down all around the edges. Now it don't look the prettiest because the glue kind of soaked through, but I just bought some Gorilla Glue spray adhesive, and you know, I used a paint roller with a foam roller on it to kind of rub all this down. So while it don't look the greatest, at least I don't have headliner hanging down all around looking like dingle balls or something. But other than this driver's seat right here, she cleaned up pretty nice, guys. This sunroof, everything, the back seat's cleaned up really good. So pretty happy with that, even though we're not building a show truck. I mean, this is still gonna be a farm truck. I'm kind of glad I don't have to ride around in a mess. As far as the more important things we've done to the truck lately, if you remember when I bought the truck, it had a massive exhaust leak. Yeah, I cleaned the engine bay up pretty good too. At least from the top side. Bottom's still filthy, but the exhaust leak was actually coming from where the driver's side manifold bolted to the Y pipe down there. You know, this was a ranch truck. They hauled hay in it. It was out in the fields working all the time, and apparently they got hung up on a stump or something like that, and it had bent the Y pipe. Initially, I tried to fix this by just tightening the Y pipe up a little bit tighter to the header there, or to the exhaust manifold there. All I succeeded in doing was breaking exhaust manifold studs, so that needless to say, that didn't work out too well. Luckily, because of all the swaps and stuff that we've done, I had several pair of these truck manifolds laying around in the barn, so I decided at that point I was just going to replace the manifolds and replace the Y pipe. Another good reason I wanted to go ahead and replace the manifolds is we had several of the manifold bolts broken off in the heads. So the very first one on the driver's side was broken, and the very last one on the driver's side was broken. And then over here on the passenger side, again, the very first one was broken, and the back two were broken off. So the manifolds had to come off to fix that anyway. I'd actually bought some of those brackets. Some of you may know Dorman makes these brackets so that if you've got broken bolts, they make 3 different brackets, and one of them will fit either the back corner of the driver's side or the front corner of the passenger side, and the other one will fit the back of the passenger side or the front of the driver's side. And then I think they make one that goes in the middle too, but those aren't really as bad or, you know, as notorious for breaking as the end bolts are. But basically these brackets bolt to existing holes in the head, and then they have like a cinch bolt that you screw down to put pressure on the manifold right above where your bolts are broken, so it reseals. Now the funny thing is, I was having a lot of trouble getting these broken bolts out, guys, because normally, you know, when I'm trying to get these things out, it's normally on an engine stand, or I've got the head off the engine and sitting on my workbench. And generally what I do is I'll weld a nut onto it and, you know, then just turn the nut out. I had zero problem up here doing that with this one, okay? And then I had zero problem doing it with the front one over there. Then closer to the back, the second to last one, it was broke off. You know, it was sticking out about that far. There was still a lot of the bolt left. So I was able to just hit it with some heat and grab a pair of vice grips and turn that one out. The one on the very back there, I welded a nut to. It was broken off a little bit below the level of the head, but I was able to weld a nut on it and get it out. This very back one here, I'm just going to show you. These are all my attempts to weld to that very back one and get it out. I could not get it to stick, guys, and it had me so frustrated that I ended up trying to put that bracket on the back corner. So I'd already went ahead and put the new exhaust manifold on, and then the bracket that goes back there, it is such a pain in the ass to try to get back there to get the bolts in between the firewall and the back of the cylinder head, that it made me give up on using the brackets and just get really determined to get that last broken bolt out so I didn't have to use those brackets. So luckily my cousin Brad, you guys know he's my welder, my fabricator, he was able to come over here and like second try, that one that I had tried like, what, 2, 4, 6, 8, like I tried like 8 or 9 times and failed. He came over here on the second try, got it to stick and got it out. So we got our new manifolds on. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I never put bolts back in these. The bolts break off, even the replacement bolts end up breaking eventually. So I always use these stainless studs. It's just a stainless steel stud and a stainless nut. So I grabbed them on eBay. Depending on where you get them from, they're anywhere from $12.99 to $18.99 for a set of those. And you never have to worry about that again. They're also nice because you can go ahead and put your gasket on the studs first, then put the manifold on. So you don't have to sit there and try to hold a manifold while you're threading in, or hold a gasket and a manifold while you're trying to thread in your bolts there. So, and also the Dorman brackets I was telling you about, those things are expensive, guys. I think they're about $30, $40 for each one. And I come to find out there are China knockoffs on eBay. You can get both brackets for $20. So in case that's a route you want to try, I'll put a link for those in the video description. As a matter of fact, everything that I'm showing you that I used in this video, I'll go ahead and put links in the video description, eBay links. And I'm required to let you know I am an eBay affiliate. So if you use my eBay links, I may get some sort of compensation for it. It does not affect your price. It does support the channel and helps me continue making videos. So use my links, please. This truck originally came from Michigan, and there was so much rust and corrosion. I was not able to unbolt the Y pipe. So I ended up just cutting the Y pipe off right there. And then on the driver's side, and you can see there's the rest of the driver's side of the Y pipe there. And then on the passenger side, I cut the back of the manifold. And that doesn't bother me because if I ever do use this old manifold for anything, it'll be to build a turbo log. And in that case, I would have ended up welding a V-band right there anyway. So we're not going to throw these away. We can repurpose them for a turbo kit, kind of like we did on Steppenwolf 8 or 9 years ago. When you take the driver's side manifold off, the only way you're pulling it out from the top is if you take your steering loose here, your steering shaft loose. But as long as you took the Y pipe off, you can just drop that manifold right out the bottom. And then over here on the passenger side, when I unbolted the manifold on the passenger side, it was able to just come right up through here. So it wasn't hard to get out at all. And I was planning to make a step-by-step video on replacing the exhaust manifolds and the Y pipe on these trucks. Unfortunately, like I said, things got out of hand. Nothing really came apart the way it should. I've got a feeling there's going to be a lot of stuff that goes that way on this truck where, you know, it doesn't come apart in a normal way. I'm having to cut stuff off because of the rust and the corrosion. So you're probably gonna see a mix of the how-to videos mixed in with videos like this where I just have to get it done and then go back and show you what I did. Now, as far as the Y pipe I used, I was able to get a Y pipe with new catalytic converters on eBay for $104 shipped. And for the most part, it fit really well. It came with all new gaskets and everything. One of the old gaskets I reused. I reused the donut gasket on the passenger side because the one that came with it didn't have that little sleeve that seats into the exhaust manifold and holds the donut gasket in place while you're bolting everything up. So instead of using the cheap donut gasket that came with the Y pipe, I chose to just take one of my used donut gaskets here, and I just cleaned it up a little bit with a wire brush and stuck it back in, and it sealed good, guys. The Y pipe fits really well. It comes in 2 pieces. The only place that I have a leak is the place that as soon as I took it out of the box, I already knew I was going to end up having a leak, but I've got a plan to fix it. You can see there's the new Y pipe, the new catalytic converters. You know, there's the driver's side, passenger side's up here. You see the converter. And here's where I knew it was going to leak, is right here. Cheap eBay Y pipe. It does come in 2 pieces, and the way it's designed, it's kind of backward, guys. Normally what you want when you have a lap joint like this is you want the direction of flow. So if the air, the exhaust in this case, it's coming from that direction and it's coming this direction, so you would want that pipe to slip inside of this pipe. And they actually did the lap joint exactly backward. So they've got that pipe, or this pipe, going into that pipe against the direction of flow, which is a big no-no in itself. It also doesn't help that this pipe right here is just a little too short when everything's said and done, and does not go in that pipe far enough to cover the, you know, fully cover the 3 slits that are in there for your crush zone, right? So it comes with one of these old school clamps, exhaust clamps right here. So the way I'm gonna fix this, I've got just a tiny exhaust leak, and it's actually coming from the top. I'm not gonna shove the camera up there, but there's already a little black, you can see where it's leaking. So the way I'm gonna fix this is I've already ordered a 2.5 inch stepped lap joint band clamp, and it will cover that joint in like 3 inches in either direction and seal it up. And I'll probably throw a little bit of copper RTV in there around the seams and stuff before I tighten it down. The same procedure I used on all the joints on the China Vet when we did the headers and X-pipe and all that jazz on the China Vet years ago. So it seemed to work really well on the China Vet. We don't have any exhaust leaks now, so I'm gonna end up doing the same thing here. Alternately, you know, if you wanted to, after you put this on, you could just take this to an exhaust shop and say, hey, I want this welded solid. And then basically you'd have a 1-piece Y pipe, just like the factory pipe. Something else I had planned to do a how-to, like step-by-step video on while I was down here, is I went ahead and replaced the transmission fluid and the filter down here. And it seemed like a really good time to do it while I had all this blown apart, because a lot of the times the Y pipe can interfere with your ability to drop the pan if you've got the deep pan like I do. So while I had all this out of the way, I decided to just go ahead and do the transmission fluid and filter. So there will be no step-by-step video on this truck for that. I may do it on the Avalanche later on when we get the motor pulled out of it and get going on that again. Something else, I also ended up having to replace the transmission mount. Now this is kind of funny. Some of you guys might think it's funny anyway, and it just kind of lets you know, kind of how YouTube works when somebody has a vehicle like this and they're doing a bunch of videos. So I already knew the transmission mount was going to need to be replaced, but what I was going to do is, after I got all this back together, I was going to go ahead and put the old one back in, just so I could come back and drop that again to do a how-to video on the transmission mount. What stopped me from doing that was when I was removing the cross member to get the exhaust back in, one of the bolts snapped off in the stock transmission mount. So I wasn't able to put it all, I wasn't going to put this all back together. I mean, you can see this mount is shot, like the rubber's totally, like it's gone. It's gone. So I was able to pick up a new mount locally for like I think it was $30 at Advanced Auto Parts. Went ahead and got that in. It's really not a huge job, guys. It's, drop the cross member, drop the old mount, put the new mount in, bolt the cross member back up. Not a big deal. And like I said, I really hate that I wasn't able to make separate instructional videos on this stuff, but we had gotten to a point where I had to get this truck running. It's been sitting here for months, as you know, I had it tore apart where we were fixing stuff and making videos on it. And there's still more to come, guys. I still have to do a lot of videos on this truck, but I had to at least get it back into drivable condition so we had something to haul off trash, haul lumber, you know, things like that. One other issue I had, I was not able to get the downstream O2 sensor out of the driver's side. And this wasn't a big deal for a couple reasons. Number one, the new Y-pipe comes with screw-in plugs where the O2 sensors go. So what I ended up doing is just not running the downstream O2 sensors at all and just screwing the plugs in. There's a couple reasons I did that. First off, I don't really need them, guys. The only thing the downstream O2 sensors do, by downstream I mean the ones behind the catalytic converters, all they do is kind of check and tell the computer the difference between what the front ones are seeing and the back ones are seeing. So it kind of like checks the efficiency of the catalytic converters. So you don't really have to have that. You just need to have some way to turn them off in your tune so you don't have a check engine light. And you know, we've got HP tuners, so I'm just going to disable those in the tune. Another reason I didn't want to spend the money to replace it, because I do plan to eventually turbocharge this truck, and when I turbocharge the truck there won't be any catalytic converters or downstream O2 sensors. So it didn't make sense for me to spend money on new sensors now just to end up throwing them in the trash, you know, whenever we end up turboing the truck. So like I said, we're just running the front O2 sensors on both sides. I'm going to grab my HP tuners actually as soon as I finish filming all this. I'm going to grab it and go ahead and delete the rear O2 sensors, the downstream O2 sensors out of the tune, and we should be good there. Now the next how-to video you'll probably see is we'll be servicing the rear differential. We're going to be doing that because now that I've got it running, I drove it all day Sunday, and I've got some kind of weird noise coming from the back of the truck. I'm not sure if it's the rear end. Honestly, it could just be the wind hitting, you know, where my rockers are rusted out. It could be a wind whistle. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird noise. I'm not exactly sure what I'm hearing, but I've already got all the stuff to change all the rest of the fluids. So yeah, next video on this truck you see will be a how-to on servicing the rear end, and then I'll be doing one for the front differential, and we'll be doing one for the transfer case as well. I also still have to replace the hinge pins and bushings on this driver's door. The rest of the door is shut good. Driver's door, not so much. But that's it, guys. I just want to give you a little update on the tow pig and some of the stuff that's been going on with it. Lots more videos coming on this truck. Also, we're going to have some more videos coming on the China Vet, and maybe some more videos coming on the wife's 5th gen Camaro up there. We've got some stuff that needs to be replaced on both of those still. But what's really important is now that this truck is running and not just sitting here in pieces blocking my downstairs garage, we can get Cece out and get the fuel system flushed out, get her cleaned up, and maybe go play at the track a little bit this year. Because it's been, what guys, it's been 2 years since Cece's been to the track. I think it's about time. Anyway, at this point, I'm just rambling. Time for me to get back in the house so I can edit this video, so you guys aren't yelling at me for not making a video in like 2 or 3 weeks. And you guys need to get off YouTube, get out in the garage, and get something done. And I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage. Tell you what, the old tow pig's kind of shiny and pretty now.